So here we are with the Netflix War for Cybertron, Rat Trap, and Optimus Primal. They, of course, are a two-pack together, and I have reviewed each of the individual releases before and said that I wasn't planning on owning either of them. So why do I have these two? Well, stick around. We're going to compare them with their mainline counterparts. We're going to compare them with kind of the team and with Megatron, just so you can sort of see where they fit in. And we're going to talk about exactly what it was that drew me to actually have both of these guys. Why do I see that value now? Stick around, it's a lot to explore in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby! And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton and let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is down in the description below. While you're at it, if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can also use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube to become a channel member. Now, to be fair, in the last little while, man, we have looked at a lot of the Wave 3 Netflix stuff. We've looked at Deep Cover a little while ago. We've looked at the Sparkless Bot and the Sparkless Seeker set. And we looked at Cheetor some time ago. And now this set. I will tell you now that the reason I have the Wave 3s is really, technically, all of this has been my birthday haul, courtesy of Starscream Wife. So all of this is kind of thanks to her. Birthday haul time, right? A lot of people ask me, what did you get for your birthday? Well, like, I got Wave 3. Right, it is what it is. So I ended up picking these guys up. I wasn't necessarily gonna, but I'm glad that I did. And there is a method to my madness here. So, without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at this set. And in an unexpected turn of events, we are looking at the Netflix Wave 3 Voyager pack of Optimus Primal and Rat Trap. Now, I previously looked at the stock releases of both of these guys, and we're going to compare them here. And I said then that the Rat Trap wasn't for me, and I said that the Optimus Primal is great, but I don't really need it. So why did I get this? What changed? Well, we'll see as we go on, but before we can kind of delve into that question, we have to look at the packaging first. And here, of course, we have the Netflix packaging. We have big gorilla guy on the side here. Maximal symbol down there is kind of cool. We have the usual on the side over here, and then on the back we have both Optimus Primal and Rat Trap. Interesting to note that on the back here, I feel like more clearly than we usually get, these are definitely like the computer renders and stuff. Like, look how good this gorilla mode looks. Like, that looks tremendous. I feel like a little bit better than what we actually get. Not that what we get is bad by any stretch of the imagination, but like the shading and coloring is a bit different here. Same with his sword pieces and whatnot, but we'll see that in a little bit. But this is the packaging. Here are the swords that come with Optimus Primal. The top one is the stock release with the silver and the lighter blue handle. The bottom one is the Netflix one with the gunmetal gray blade and the darker blue handle. Interestingly, the one on top, sometimes apparently the blade is white rather than silver, and it almost looks white on screen, but it's not. It's silver, I promise you. I don't know. I like the gunmetal gray, but to each their own. So, on the top we're going to say we have City Mouse, and on the bottom we're going to say we have Country Mouse. On the top is the regular Rat Trap Blaster, on the bottom is the Netflix Rat Trap Blaster. Top is like a light beige gray, the bottom is a darker browny gray. And so we kick things off with one of the elephants in the room. Which Optimus Primal is the better Optimus Primal in terms of coloration? Well, we're going to start things out in gorilla mode. You see, when we looked at the original Kingdom Optimus Primal in episode 832, I said then that he was a 10 for his coloration, with only really one kind of, I don't want to say error, but one deviation from his proper color. And I said it was a 10 for articulation and a 10 for transformation. The Netflix one has a lot to live up to. So how do they compare here in gorilla mode? Because we're going to go now from gorilla back to robot. We've seen robot to gorilla in the Kingdom review. Now we'll see Gorilla back to robot. In Gorilla mode, I feel like the dark on the face and I guess torso of the Netflix might be more accurate to a gorilla, though I do find the color mismatch on the sides here and on the main part more jarring than the color mismatch on the Kingdom one, and both of them do have a color mismatch. And I do like the black here better. This is more of a, I don't know, like a black, like a stark black. The other black on the Kingdom one, for some reason to me, I don't know if it's supposed to be slightly grayish or what, but it almost seems like it has this greenish just tinge to it under the right light. It's so strange. It is not as like jet black as the black that's on the Kingdom one. So I think both of them are fine. I don't have an issue with either. It's really an aesthetic preference. I like the Netflix one, but I totally understand why somebody would prefer the Kingdom one 1,000,000,000%. In terms of articulation here, in Gorilla mode, the head, it can go left and right and up and down. The arms, they retain full motion that he has in robot mode, with the elbow being deep and the wrist swiveling, the fingers opening and closing and the arm going out and all the way around. He still has a waist. The legs, depending on how you want to use them, you can still go out to the side. You can straighten them up and have him taller. Knee forward. You can still get a knee back if you really need it. The toes, they bend forward and back. He's actually quite stable to stand. He can get a lot of gorilla-esque poses, so I think the articulation works well in Gorilla mode. Certainly better than what the original Beast Wars one had in Gorilla mode, even though I do love that one. So, the transformation here, really quickly, you straighten out the knee and you straighten out the leg and the knee. You bring down the toes and you bring down the toes. You can lift that piece up and you can rotate the waist all the way around. You can, I'm going to take these off for a minute, though you can leave them on. You kind of bring the shoulders forward a little bit so you can get a kind of a firm grasp on the body here. And really, all you're doing once you have that firm grasp is pulling the body back. I found it scary tight on the Kingdom one, not as tight on this one. Tolerance slightly better. We take the front torso here and we turn it around to bring out the optimal, or the Optimus Primal thing. We bring up the head, we rotate it, we bring the head back down, and then we rotate the whole thing around, and now the gorilla head will be down inside. There are shoulder blasters here that you can flip out on very small starts. I find they're easier to flip out on the Kingdom one than on this one. I'm not going to flip them out right now. I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to bring this up, turn it around, and it comes up on the back. There's a little start right there that goes into a little hole up on the back. If you line it up just right, it'll go in there. Then we bring these up on the side of the shoulder. They're still pretty tight. And really, boom, in the end, here we have Optimus Primal in his robot mode. But I want to point something out that I actually missed in the original Kingdom review, I do believe, and I don't know if anybody ever pointed it out to me, but I'm going to do it now. Both the Kingdom and this guy, if you go inside here and press, does have the like little blasters in the forearms. I dig it. I really dig it, and they can take blast effects. The ones over his shoulders can take blast effects, and of course, as you saw, the sword pieces can go in his hands, or of course, if you want, they can go in, or sorry, go on his back, or they can go in his hands. For the back, we use the rectangular tab that's on the side, and it goes into a little rectangular slot back right there. Absolutely dig it, and here he is next to his Kingdom counterpart. And these guys are indeed similar, but different. The colors all over are darker on the Netflix one. The blue on his head, for example, is darker. The black is more of a stark black that I've already mentioned. The white is more of a, like a gritty off-white than the kind of bright, brilliant white. The red on the Netflix one is darker. The feet on this guy are that bluish color, kind of like his head. The feet on the Netflix guy are more of a silvery color. The biggest departure, of course, is in the torso. This guy has the blue outline and then the light blue inside, like the program. This guy has the blue outline and the contrasting kind of white inside, which is not quite like the program. The only real imperfection on the Kingdom one is that these blue hinges up right here, by rights they should be red. Again, like, it comes down to aesthetics. Which color do you like best? In terms of transformation. Oh, and this guy has his shoulder blasters out, just so you can see what they look like with the shoulder blasters out. It really comes down to your aesthetic preference. If you want super show accuracy, as I usually do, then you definitely want to go with the Kingdom one. If you want kind of deeper colors, and you're okay with a slight variation being not only that red on those, or the red being blue on those hip sections, but the chest piece being a little bit different. But if you like the darker colors, go with the Netflix. It's really as simple as that. No real loss. I think that for paint apps, the Kingdom takes it just a little bit at 10. I think the Netflix is more like a 9.75. Articulation, exact same for both. We'll go over that in just a minute. It's going to be a 10. Transformation, exact same for both. It's a 10. Just taking this guy out of it. For that articulation, real quick again, the head goes left, right, up, down. The arms go all the way around, out to the side, down. We have super deep elbow. We have a wrist swivel and opening fingers. I find the fingers open easier on this guy than they do on the stock Kingdom release. Waist works well. Legs kick forward and legs kick back. That far we get the kind of waist skirt up just a little bit. We do have a thigh swivel. We do have a lower leg swivel slightly. We do have a nice knee, easy 90 degrees. We do have ankle tilt. We do have toe that goes forward and back. He really has everything you could want. The mass for this guy compared to a traditional Voyager did go down a little bit. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was something like 132 grams. So it is slightly lighter, but the guy is slathered in paint, as I said before, and the molded in detail, because of the fur, is all over everything. So a ton of molded in detail, extra paint, and we do have hinge and swivel joints for the most part anyway, as compared to ball joints. So we did lose a little bit of mass, but it wasn't enough to kind of ruin the value, because it was offset by all of these other things. So it was a minimal loss of plastic for the sake of all these other things. That's acceptable. It's just when we have a massive loss of plastic that it kind of ruffles my feathers. I think that this works okay, but it's not the only thing we got in this packaging, of course. That's right, we have 2 times the rat trap. The only thing really to note here is that we have a slot on the side of the leg. That's where you would store his blaster in this mode. It's not the best storage, I gotta be honest. I kind of like the way that the blaster stores on the Deluxe better. I'll also note that the Deluxe does have a canister in its arm, like those grenade things. But it does not have a 90-degree elbow. That's where the Deluxe falls down. If you want to kind of see more of the comparison, you can go back and look at my Kingdom Rat Trap review in episode 816. Which rat mode do you like better? The lighter color or the darker color? Again, it's up to you. Not much in the way of articulation in this mode. Nothing worth talking about. So we're going to take this guy out of it. We've already seen the transformation going from robot to rat. Now we're going to see it going back from rat to robot. And we really begin by bringing the legs down from the back, and then you untab them from the side here. You untab the thighs of the robot mode legs from the side. And really you can kind of just straighten up the legs as best you can for now. And you'll stand them up, but we'll worry about kind of orienting the feet and the knees and everything after. Then we can untab the arms from 2 rectangular tabs that are up under the tail, and we can flip these back. When we flip those back, we can begin to sort of pick this up and fold down the head there. This comes around and we fold this all up on the back and we collapse the backpack. We're just about done here now. And we bring up a shoulder and we bring up a shoulder and really boom, in the end here we have Rat Trap. I'm going to clean him up, get him kind of in frame with the other lad. And I kind of quickly sort of gloss through the transformation. I think we pretty much know how this goes. So, in terms of coloration, look, the lower legs on neither of these guys really matches the animation. I get why, because they become the back legs of the rat mode. But there's supposed to definitely be more coloration down on the lower legs of both, and they shouldn't have their just straight up rat feet. There are robot mode feet. So that's not right. The arms, the shoulders, they should have, make sure that one's up. They should have a little more kind of gold detailing on them. Arguably there should be red eyes on the rat mode in robot mode, but again, I mean, you can only do so much, right? So generally, which one do you like? The stock one has a silver, I guess like dome on his head and silver on his forearms. The Netflix has gunmetal gray on the dome on his head and gunmetal gray on the forearms. The orangish color, the beigeish color of his like thighs, arms and head on the stock is a little bit darker than it is on the Netflix. And the rat color is a darker gray on the Netflix as compared to a lighter gray on the stock release. Which one do you think is better? Honestly, I'd said that Rat Trap's coloration was an 8.5 or a 9. I still think it's an 8.5 or a 9. The transformation I said was a 9. I still think the transformation is a 9. I was ready to kind of rip it apart, but when it works right and you have everything pegged in correctly, it actually works pretty elegantly. And the articulation I said was an 8 and an 8.5. So just taking this guy out of it really quickly for the sake of articulation again, left and right, the arms can go all the way out to the side and they can go up this far. They can't go all around because of the way the ball joint is. This shoulder over here is the tightest of all 4 shoulders. It stays in place. We have an elbow to a bit over 90 degrees. Because it's on a ball joint, we get a swivel that way. This arm here, same thing up, but again, it is still loose. I don't like how that was done. No waist, again because of the size. The legs, though, can go forward and back. Really, you kind of have a double knee. They get you really deep. The ankles have some tilt and rotation. They're on a ball joint, so they can go forward and back and tilt and rotate. But they're a great base for him to stand on. So, again, I'm going to say the articulation is still like an 8, 8.5. Overall, I would say the Rat Trap is about an 8.75 or a 9. The Optimus Primal is about a 9.75 or a 10. So they're comparable. It really depends on which aesthetic you like better. Now, why did I get the Netflix ones? After saying that I wasn't going to get these 2 characters because they just weren't the ones for me, not that they're bad as the scores would reflect, but I had no intention of adding them to my collection. So why did I do it this time? It all comes down to value for money. All of it. Stock release, Optimus Primal in Canada is retailing for $40, $39.99. Rat Trap is retailing for $15, $14.99. 40 and 15 is $55. I expected this set. Thinking of that math, I said, okay, so it'll probably be $54.99 because it's an exclusive and they're going to say it has extra paint or something, whether it does or doesn't, they're probably going to do it at $59.99. That would make sense because that's what the Phantom Strike Squadron went for, was $59.99. And that was a Voyager Seeker and 2 Battle Masters. Okay, instead of 2 Battle Masters, we have a Core Class Rat Trap. So basically a Legends Rat Trap. So I looked at that and I thought that that was going to be what it was. And then something strange happened. The pricing for the box set was $44.99. $10 cheaper, so $45. $10 cheaper than I expected the price to be. And I looked at it and said, you know what? If a Voyager was still $29.99, $30 Canadian, and these Core Class guys were at the price of a traditional Legend being $12.99, then that would be $13. So 30 and 13 would be 43. This is $2 more. I understand that. You know what? The traditional prices that I'm using in my head were the prices from like 2019 and the Power of the Primes. So now 2 years later, a $2 increase. Yeah, I can understand that, especially since now with Optimus Primal we have hinge and swivel rather than ball joints. I get it. I see where the extra $2 in value was. I got this set expressly because the math made sense, the value made sense, and the incremental increase was palpable. Why? Because we're actually getting more for our money. I'm not in for these two molds for $55, but you know what? I'm in for them at $45. And here we have our duo next to the massive Beast Wars Megatron. Yes. And he certainly looks formidable next to the two of them. This scale is right. And finally, and here we have kind of the group family shot as it currently stands. Notwithstanding, I don't have depth charge in here. I just didn't want to try and root him out from where he's to. Though I do have him as part of the team. And I don't have Optimal Optimus here, which is where I normally have him. Because we do have the kind of Season 1 iteration of Optimus Primal in here. And of course this is still made up of a little bit of a mix of new and old, not the least of which is we still have the Thrilling 30 Rhinox. I don't know about the new one, we shall see. We still have the original Tigatron with some custom work, and the original Silverbolt. Both of those should get updates. We know Tigatron is. Rumors that Silverbolt will. But I do like this, and I do think it looks good, and I do think that it scales quite nicely. As a whole, this set, I think it's an absolute success. For value for money, for an Optimus Primal, and for a Rat Trap. And here we are once again, baby. And, okay, so one thing at a time. First, the Optimus Primal. I like these colors more. They pop to me more. I think I just like the deeper colors, but the mainline is more animation accurate, which is strange because I'm usually a junkie for that stuff. Neither's bad. Neither's bad. If you already have the original, do you need the double dip for this? No, absolutely not. Don't. If you have the original, there's no need to get this guy. I didn't have the original, so that's why I have this guy. Then the Rat Trap. Again, it's varying degrees of shade. I said in his original review that he surprised me that he was better than I thought he was going to be. He's a nice little lad. Perfect? No, but he's a nice little lad. I do wish that the shoulders stayed up a bit better. One of mine on this guy does. Again, if you have the original, do you need to double dip for this? No, absolutely not. So if you have both main lines, you don't need this set. Absolutely don't need it. If you don't have those main lines, this is a good chance to get both of them, and for cheaper. About $10 cheaper. If you look at it, I mean, technically this guy is for traditional Legends price, and technically this guy is for a traditional Voyager price before the price hikes. The difference is maybe $2 higher. And I can kind of justify that by the use of extra paint and the hinge and swivel joints that's on Optimus Primal. A $2 hike, yeah, I can understand that. A couple of years later and whatnot, yeah, that makes sense. The pricing here made sense, and it was about, again, about $10 less or so, maybe even about $15 less than I thought it was gonna be. This made sense. A lot of times I'm harsh about prices, I'm harsh about not getting your money's worth, but I'm also the first one to say when you get your money's worth, I heap on the praise, and this set is 100% your money's worth and mine. Let me know what you think about Optimus Primal and Rat Trap, whether it be the mainline or these guys. I appreciate you coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube to become a channel member. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day you do make a difference, whether you realize it or not, man. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.